Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Connor, and today we're going to be talking about how to sell your property as is. It's a question that I get asked a lot about from my clients, from prospective clients, when I talk to for sale by owners, and I think that there's a couple nuances to it where there's often a lot of misunderstandings. So today we're going to clear them up. Let's get into it. So what does it mean to sell your property as is? Simply, it means that the buyer of the property is going to buy it in its current state. You're not going to have to make any repairs or updates to it. You're not going to have to put any money into it. It sounds appealing, right? That's why most homeowners often say this. They say they want to sell their property as is. So let's talk about two types of buyers. We're going to talk about cash buyers and conventional buyers, or buyers who are using a loan. So with cash buyers, it's a lot easier to sell your property as is because they're not getting a loan. Someone who's working with a lender is going to need to get homeowners insurance. And in order to get homeowners insurance, when you sell the property, during that closing period, they're going to have an inspection. And normally it's going to be a 4-point inspection is what's going to be required. Your 4 points are going to be your HVAC, your electric, your plumbing, and your roof. And so if there's any issues with that, it's going to prevent that buyer from getting the homeowners insurance, which is going to then prevent them from getting that loan. So those issues are going to need to be addressed in order for the buyer to get a loan. So any issues with your HVAC, any issues with your plumbing, with your electrical, and your roof. So you might say, well, how do you sell your property as is then if you need to have a clean 4-point inspection? That's where it gets a little bit trickier with conventional buyers. So buyers who are using a loan or lender. There are some insurance policies that you can get which don't require a clean 4-point inspection. So technically a buyer could get that type of insurance from one of those providers. Now it does come with a premium because those insurance providers are inherently taking on more risk by not having a clean 4-point inspection on the home. So it's unlikely that most buyers are going to want to do that. That's why it's not as common. So you can see selling your home as is when you're working with a conventional buyer is a little bit trickier. Now let's talk about a cash buyer. A cash buyer is going to be a lot easier because really the only thing that they need to close is going to be clean title. So no encumbrances or no clouding on the title. Cash buyers are often going to be your investors, the ones who have that cash on hand. Usually it's going to be a lower offer because they're going to repair it usually and then try to rent it out, or repair it and then sell it like a flip. And in either of those situations, they're going to need to build their margin in. And that margin is built by offering a lower amount to you than the fair market value. So if you're trying to sell your home as is, it's easier to work with cash buyers than conventional buyers. Those are going to be your target. Now, the second part to selling your home as is going to be the contract. You're going to want to use an as-is contract for that purchase agreement. Basically, what the as-is contract is it states that you, as the seller, are not obligated to make any repairs. So the as-is contract, I would say, is the standard. It's what most purchases use. The one nuance of the as-is contract is the buyer is agreeing to purchase the home as is, and the seller is not obligated to pay anything, but there is an inspection period. So during that inspection period, the buyer is allowed to back out of the purchase for whatever reason they deem necessary, and they still can submit requests for repair. Those requests for repair are basically saying that we found this problem or that problem, and we would like you to repair it. So now you're saying, whoa, this is not an as-is contract. What's going on here? And that's the nuance that most sellers don't know about. Yes, you can sell your property as is. Yes, you can use the as-is contract. But in that as-is contract, there still is that inspection period, and buyers still do have that ability to make requests for repair during that inspection period. And let's say it's 10 or 15 days. If you say no to those requests for repair, or for whatever reason, the buyer still can back out of that contract. So how do you prevent that from happening? Clear communication. You need to have clear communication with your buyer that, listen, this property is being sold as is. It's X amount of years old. We know that there are X, Y, and Z issues, and we're not going to be repairing them. So do not submit any requests because they will not be entertained. Now, if you're aware of a couple of issues and you know that there might be the AC's old, or there might be a couple spots on the roof that aren't great, and you let the buyer know about that and they're okay with that, if they do an inspection, they find out that there are some serious electrical issues that are going to cost $5,000, well, they might still feel like that was not included or they weren't expecting that, and that's not the as-is condition that they wanted to buy the property in. What I would recommend in that scenario is either splitting the cost of the repair with the buyer, so that unexpected repair, if you think that is fair. If that buyer is a conventional buyer, what you can do is, let's say the repair is $5,000, you can increase the purchase amount by $5,000, and then you can make that repair. So at closing, you'll be getting $5,000 more, so the buyer will be compensating you for the repair. But on the buyer's end, that's not $5,000 out of their pocket. That's $5,000 over, let's say, a 15 or 30-year loan. So it's a lot easier for them to pay that. It's not really out of pocket. So today we talked about a couple things. We talked about as-is contracts and why cash buyers are going to be your preferred buyer over conventional buyers. The second thing we talked about are contracts and why you're going to want to use that as-is contract, and how buyers can still, during that inspection period, either back out or make requests for repair. So you're going to want to have that open, clear, transparent line of communication with them, so you don't end up getting into a deal where they're going to still make repair requests and then you're going to waste that time on market when you could have been getting and entertaining another buyer. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a like. If you got any questions about selling your home as is, go ahead and comment them below. I'll be sure to answer them. And if you want to learn more about real estate, go ahead and subscribe. I make videos about real estate topics that, even if they're a little complex on the surface, I make them very easy to understand. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Conor Green. Have a great day.